Samsung unveiled a lot of new hardware today, but if wearables are kind of your thing, then the Galaxy Watch 3 is probably what piqued your attention the most. But let me just clear a few things up right now. In a lot of ways, the Galaxy Watch 3, both versions of it for that matter, are very similar to a wearable that you can actually just go out and buy right now. See, ticking away inside both versions of the new Galaxy Watch 3 is Samsung's Exynos 9110 dual-core processor, and that's clocked at about 1.15 gigahertz. Now, if that sounds familiar, wow. Good job. That's exactly the same processor that's currently available in Samsung's Galaxy Watch Active 2. The similarities don't end there either. The batteries inside the 41 and 45 millimeter versions of the Galaxy Watch 3 are identical to the batteries found in the 40 and 44 millimeter versions of the Watch Active 2. In other words, Samsung basically just gave its existing watch compute platform better bodies. And to be clear, these do seem like better bodies. Unlike the Galaxy Watch Active 2, the Watch 3s have a bit more of a classic aesthetic, and I think they're pretty nicely underpinned by what might be my favorite flourish in any Samsung device ever, the rotating bezel, which allows you to navigate menus and select options on the watch screen itself. I've gone on the record in the past saying this is the single best interface choice that Samsung has probably ever made, and I'm sticking to it for this year. It's especially nice because Samsung just skipped it in the Watch Active 2, and it kind of seemed for a while like they were going to skip it indefinitely, but I'm glad this thing is back. If you're a longtime Samsung wearable fan, you'll probably also notice that the Watch 3 is quite a bit lighter and thinner than the last Galaxy Watch, which in fairness, makes sense. We did get that thing a couple years ago. The versions that Samsung is showing off now are surprisingly sleek, and I'm a fan of this look. It might even be enough to get me to reconsider living with the Apple Watch, except, you know, the Exynos is a pretty old chipset, so maybe that's a bit strong for me to say. Credit where it's due though, Samsung does seem to have done a pretty good job fleshing out the Watch 3's software platform. You're now able to track up to 40 different kinds of exercises, 7 of which are detected automatically, and the remaining 33 you can just sort of toggle when you're starting to do pull-ups or the squat, which is kind of nice. Samsung also added some tools here that I think runners are going to find particularly helpful. There's what Samsung calls a new digital running coach, which sure, that sounds pretty good. I don't know that I would necessarily want to wear something this kind of ornate looking while I'm going out for a run, but it's nice that you have the option. You do also have the ability to customize your displays to show off your pace, your current run duration, or your heart rate while you're out racking up the miles. And Samsung notes that you'll be able to check your VO2 max on the go, which is huge if you're the kind of athlete who really cares about making sure your body is working as efficiently as it can while you're doing whatever it is you're doing. Oh, and there's one new feature here that I sincerely hope that you never actually have to use. Samsung built automatic fall detection into the watch. As you're moving through the world or going about your day, if you happen to take a spill, the watch will notice if you've taken a spill and have stopped moving. It'll prompt you, and if you don't respond to that prompt, it'll start reaching out to emergency contacts. Now, this is not a terribly new feature. A lot of leaks suggested that we were actually going to get this in the Watch 3s, and they were right. And we've seen features or something like it in quite a few other smartwatches. I think the Apple Watch is probably the most prominent example. But I'm not too hung up on Samsung being slightly late to this party because it is a genuinely great thing to have. And speaking of incredibly helpful health-centric features, Samsung has also added the ability to monitor your heart via ECG and blood pressure monitoring to the Galaxy Watch 3. These kind of heart-focused features are very near and dear to my heart, and I know I just kind of walked into that because last year I had an atrial flutter, and I only really knew what it was because my wearable saw it and told me that I should probably consider going to see a doctor. I'm more or less fine now, I think, but I wouldn't have known what to do were it not for that feature. And I'm personally very pleased that more people are going to get access to it. The only problem is that ECG feature and the blood pressure monitoring are only available in South Korea. That may change. Samsung has not formalized what its plans for these features will be, but let me just say, I'm kinda crushed. All told, Samsung seems to have struck a pretty good balance in the new Watch 3s. We have the classic look, we have the bezel, which is, again, just like the best way to interact with a smartwatch, period. And we have a proven computing and battery system that we've seen in a watch before and genuinely quite liked. New software plus these health-centric features sweeten the deal quite a bit further. If you've been watching our videos or reading our other stories on Engadget.com, which I strongly recommend that you do, you might know that I'm not a huge fan of what Samsung has done with the Galaxy Note 20 series this year. They're kind of unfocused and a mess, especially the regular Note 20. But I have to say, I don't feel the same way about the Galaxy Watch 3s. They maybe aren't the most dramatic physical updates, but they work. They have better software. They're slowly at least starting to get features that really, really matter to people who care about their health, and I'm all for it. If the Galaxy Watch 3s have piqued your interest, you'll be able to pick one up starting on August 6th for $399. That is for the Bluetooth model. There will be LTE variants that almost certainly will cost extra. They always do. We don't have that pricing as I'm shooting this video. If you somehow haven't had enough of Samsung's Unpacked or all the announcements coming from it, please check out the rest of our Samsung videos on YouTube today. Also check out our full written coverage on Engadget.com. We like to go into what I personally think is just a little too much detail, so there's going to be a little something there for everyone. If you have feedback about the way we've handled anything throughout this whole thing, let us know down in the comments or email me at v@engadget.com. I don't always get to respond to every email, but I do read all of them. And as always, thank you for watching.